If you're responsible for a global enterprise where you need to keep everything running smoothly, no matter the location or the demand, AI workload mobility, vendor lock-in, or data center interoperability are the strategies that you need to shoot for in order to keep your AI workload uninterrupted. AI workload mobility is like having the power to shift resources and applications effortlessly, whether it's across data centers or maybe between different cloud providers, which is going to ensure that you're always ahead of the game. There are different steps right here, as you can see, but let's start first with cost optimization, where workloads can be shifted to cheaper resources, like moving them to cloud platforms with lower costs during the off-peak hours or between different providers to avoid vendor lock-ins. And let's not forget disaster recovery. Workload mobility becomes a safeguard with disaster recovery. If a data center goes down, the system can automatically relocate essential workloads to other locations. And let's not forget performance. You need to always improve your performance. Like how? By reducing latency, where workloads can be moved closer to users or edge locations, ensuring faster processing and better user experience. Compliance is also another huge win, especially for organizations under strict data regulations. Workload mobility enables you to move workload to regions that meet specific security or audit requirements, ensuring that you're always in line with local or international law. In optimization, on the other hand, heavy-duty tasks like training AI models can be shifted to powerful data centers, while inferencing, they can be moved to the edge where data is actually generated. And let's end with multi-tenancy right over here, where it further enhances the system by allowing different business units to share resources dynamically. Let's take multi-cloud as a use case. What does it mean? Well, it means that you're going to be dealing with different cloud service providers. So using a multi-cloud strategy for AI workloads gives you the best of each world, best of each service provider you're dealing with. Each cloud provider excels in different areas. For example, one might be great for machine learning, while the other offers you top-tier serverless computing. By mixing and matching, you can optimize performance, cost, and latency as well. Plus, this flexibility lets you meet the compliance requirement by choosing providers with data centers in specific regions, keeping your data in check with local regulations. These setups also improve disaster recovery. So, disaster recovery as well. If one provider goes down, you can switch to another without missing a beat. In these multi-cloud scenarios and use cases, efficient data management is actually crucial. Why? Because you have your data across multiple cloud providers. Especially, we're talking here about the AI data or the AI workload. So there are different factors here. For example, data portability and synchronization. These two come together. This is the key where you need to synchronize your data across those different providers, or maybe distribute your databases using different kind of tools. For example, I can recall AWS Data Sync as an example, where storage strategies, on the other hand, matter as well, because placing data closer to AI models reduce latency, and not just latency, but also reduces the cost. And maybe, for example, a hybrid model lets you balance on-premises and cloud storage. Let's not forget data security, where encryption is involved to protect your data, compliance management, and access control. Nobody's just allowed to access. Everybody should have some kind of permission to access specific data sets. And let's not forget cost management. It's all about money, right? So you can minimize data transfer with compression and use storage steering to keep important data in high performance storage, while archiving less critical data in cheaper solutions and cheaper locations. With the right approach, I can say that you can balance cost, performance, security, and keep your AI workload efficient and also compliant. In AI world, you also have to make sure you apply redundancy and avoid single point of failure. Dealing with only one vendor or a single provider might get you in trouble. The trouble of vendor lock-in. Oh, what's that? Vendor lock-in is, can happen when you rely so heavily on one provider that switching feels almost like impossible. Whether it's due to high cost or operational chaos or even data headaches. In AI, this happens with providers like NVIDIA, for example, whose InfiniBand technology is so dominant that moving to another system feels impossible. Okay, well, you need to make sure that you avoid this word here, proprietary. Proprietary, anything proprietary, standards, services, or even APIs, anything proprietary gets you in that trap, vendor lock-in. People often tie between vendor lock-in and hardware and think it's just hardware, like I'm just locked with a specific set of equipment. Well, the answer is no, it's not just hardware, it's a bunch of different factors. For example, technology and integration. So if I take this guy right here, what does it mean? It's where the systems are actually so tailored to one vendor that switching means costly re-engineering. That's one part. Or maybe when we talk about data formats, when vendors store data in proprietary formats, it becomes so difficult to export and use those data with other systems. And let's not forget the human factor as well. This one is tricky. The more skilled your team members become with one vendor and its tools, the harder it is to retrain them on something new. That's very tricky. And also the extended contracts and special pricing, which makes it tempting to stay put, even when a better solution is out there waiting for you. Interoperability is the key for avoiding vendor lock-ins because it allows for systems to be integrated across multiple locations or maybe even across different providers. For example, you might have a private data center right here that you can actually connect with different providers and be able to synchronize your data or maybe apply some kind of redundancy in an active or active standby fashion, or maybe even load balancing between those different providers. Again, why? This is going to be less cost, and this is going to guarantee that you don't have to always be stuck with a specific service provider. Well, on the other hand, if I want to give you short key points on how to maintain interoperability, we have 4 factors here, 4 major key points. First, open standards. So stick to platforms that support multi-vendors. Do not just use a platform that works with a single vendor. On the other hand, open source solutions, things like TensorFlow, where this is going to work with different ecosystems, making them reliable and flexible. In-house expertise, make sure that you get your experienced team and train them on varieties of platforms to reduce reliance on a specific provider. And let's not forget abstraction layer, where you need to subdivide and abstract between the physical infrastructure layer and the applications, using tools, for example, like Terraform, which is going to allow you to swap between providers easily and without any disruption. In short, interoperability is going to keep your AI infrastructure agile, and it's going to prevent being locked into any single vendor, making your setup more cost-effective and resilient. Summary time. AI workload mobility allows seamless shifting of resources across data centers and cloud providers for cost optimization, disaster recovery, and better performance. Vendor lock-in avoidance is crucial because using open standards and open source tools and abstraction layers to ensure interoperability and flexibility in AI infrastructure is very important for avoiding vendor lock-ins. Multi-cloud strategies improve disaster recovery by enabling seamless switching between providers and optimizes performance by leveraging the strength of different cloud platforms. I hope this has been informative. I'd like to thank you for viewing.